Do have a lot of similar energies between these two. So Nine of Wands is about like this moment. In the image you see the guy who has clearly like seen some shit. He's been in like a bunch of battles, his head is bandaged, and he's standing there defensively with a wand, ready for whatever comes, but weary from his, trials. And that represents a lot of us at the end of this year. It's been a tough year for, a lot of different people. And it's a sort of it's a card of like defensiveness, and there are times where that is the right attitude. Like if you've been hit over and over again, maybe what you need out of that is to be a little bit defensive and to just sort of like hold your ground where you can and not lose what you've already gained. Now, Nine of Swords. There's a funny cartoon about this on Twitter, but I'm not talking about that. The Nine of Swords is all about sort of like reflection on a loss. And so I think chronologically we're seeing this one go into this one. We are mourning a loss. We're looking back at a year that was pretty bad for a lot of us, and we're sort of like coming to the point where now we're a little bit more comfortable with our ability to defend ourselves. We're weary, but we're ready for what's coming next. And then Ten of Pentacles. This is just sort of like a really happy card. This to me is a card that represents sort of like success financially and from a perspective of security, just practically in general, and it's always kind of represented to me like passing on wealth from one generation to the next, passing on lessons from one generation to the next, and passing on everything else. We actually see 3 generations in the picture. There's the old man here just looking over his family. There's what might be a husband and a wife, and then a child, and the child is sort of grabbing the tail of the dog, who is then looking to the old man for guidance. And this is a sort of like a wondrous card to get in the context of these. So I see these talking mainly about bad events and troubles which have happened in the past, and this one's talking about sort of like the great things that are to come. It's good tidings for the new year. Now, Knight of Wands tells us we're not quite done. This is the dominant energy of the draw, and he's a very active knight. As I said yesterday, he can be a little bit petulant and a little bit hot-headed because he hasn't quite reached the level of maturity of the King of Wands. He is a good person to have on your team. He's the guy that you want to be sort of like your ranger. He's always going to be down for an adventure, and he's going to be competent and capable, but there are times where he could be quick to anger. And this tells us that, while this particular journey that we're on might be coming to a conclusion and might be getting to a good place, it's only part of the battle. We've got a lot going forward, and we have a lot of maturing to do along the way. We're just not quite there yet. Overall, I feel like this is a pretty good read. If you could connect with any particular thing that I said here, please let me know in the comments or the chat. If you have any questions, if this brought up anything that you want to talk about later, I'd love to talk about it. These things work a lot better when people participate and they bring me their queries. As always, please like and subscribe, and tune in to our New Year's broadcast on Twitch.